It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. I don't have my sign today. What's up, GaFUMCk? I am on location today, but before I tell you where I am, I'm going to go through a few announcements here real quick. First of all, the Talking with God Bible study with Arnie starts back in person tomorrow, which is Thursday at 10:30 in the morning. Masks are required, socially distance is going to be required. But if you want to come in person and meet and join the Bible study, come on in at 10:30 on Thursday for Talking with God with Arnie. Listening posts. We've already had a couple different listening post meetings, and they've been very well attended and a lot of good feedback so far. If you have any questions about the survey that's gone out, I encourage you to reach out to us or to attend one of these listening post meetings. And in these meetings, we're talking about the questions. We're not debating any of the topics per se, but we're talking about why we've asked the question, the information we're trying to gain from these questions. So I encourage you to attend one of these. Here are the upcoming meetings if you're interested. We have next Tuesday, March 2nd at 10 o'clock in the morning in person at church, 7 o'clock in the evening on Zoom. Then on Thursday, March 4th, we have 1 o'clock in person at church and 7 o'clock in person at church. And then we added 2 on Sunday, March 7th. We're going to do a brief one between services at 9:30 and another one again at noon after the second service. For any of these meetings, if you plan to attend, and I again encourage you to do so, you need to contact Barb and let her know. So we are for sure staying within our 50-person limit for gathering. And especially for the people on Zoom. If you're going to join on Zoom, you have to let Barb know so Pastor Jay can email you the link to join in those Zoom calls. So I encourage you again to join one of those listening post meetings. All of the surveys we need to have turned in by Sunday, March 14th. So if you can't make any of the listening posts and you still have questions about it, feel free to reach out to Pastor Jay, to me, to Barb, or well, anybody else that you think might have an answer for you. I don't know. All right, so that's that. The Polar Plunge is this Saturday at noon. I gotta tell you, we have 15 people plunging, 13 youth, plus me and Susan. This is Susan's first time, by the way. And the event requires us to raise $100 per person in order to plunge. So our goal could be $1,500. We always think a little bit bigger and raise that up a little bit. Our goal was $2,000, and we raised $2,330 with your help for Special Olympics of Southern Illinois. And we cannot thank you guys enough for your help and support. If you want to come out and watch us plunge in this icy cold water, it's Saturday at noon. The plunge itself is going to take about 15-20 minutes. So that's it. The kids are going to arrive a little bit before noon to finish getting ready, and then we'll record the whole thing at noon. It'll be over about 12:15, 12:20. But I know the kids would love to see you there and cheering for them. And again, thank you for your support on that for Special Olympics. And then on Sunday, March 7th, we have Ignite starting. If you are middle school or high school youth, or you know of middle school, high school youth that want to join Ignite Youth Choir for this summer, we have a meeting at 5 o'clock on March 7th to talk about our plans for the summer. Again, it's going to be different because of COVID and everything, but we are going to have a season, and we encourage you to come out to that meeting. Even if you've been in the group before, we encourage you to come out to that meeting at 5 o'clock on March 7th so we can talk about our plans. So where am I? I am at Ron and Doji Motel's house. This is the house that Susan grew up in, and it's the only house she lived in until we got married, and it sold. And we've been spending the last few months cleaning everything out, going through all the closets. You guys know, those of you that moved before or sold the house before, you know all the the work that's involved in cleaning out a house. So we've been working pretty hard in cleaning this out, and we've cried a lot, we've laughed a lot. There's been a few times where, like, what in the world were they thinking when they bought this? You guys all know the story, but it's been a pretty emotional time, and it's now sold, and we moved the last of it out today. About a couple hours ago, the truck left with the last of the stuff. So it's been a tough time. And if you've seen Barb's email, you know that Susan's mom was placed on hospice yesterday. And so that's made the time even that much more difficult. We were able to go see her last night, and she's in a facility over in St. Louis. And because of COVID, we've not been able to see her since March in person. So the family was able to go in and visit with her last night, and it was a blessing. I'll be honest with you, it was a blessing to see her. It was hard, but it was a blessing. So I tell you all this because, you know, in times like this, we remind ourselves to hug our kids, tell our parents we love them, tell your friends you love them, all this kind of stuff. Mom and Dad, I love you. Kids, I love you. Susan, I love you. But Godfrey First, I love you. I want you guys to know that. I'm not just a member at Godfrey First. I'm not just a staff person at Godfrey First. I love Godfrey First. For those of you that don't know, our family attended Metropolitan United Methodist Church, and I was a member there, of course. I was baptized there by Pastor or Reverend Fred Beck. And when I was 10, our family moved up to Main Street, and then we spent several years at Main Street. And then about 13 years ago, we were church shopping, and I stepped into Godfrey First one day and saw all the old families from Metropolitan. And I knew I was home. And I have felt home ever since. Because you're my family. And yeah, I want you all to go hug your kids. And I want you all to go tell your parents you love them and your families you love them. And I want to tell our Godfrey First family that I love you. With this survey, there's going to be some transition happen at Godfrey First. There's going to be transition within the denomination, as many of you know. There's going to be some things happen at Godfrey First that the directions we want to go and the ministries that we want to pursue and do. And there's going to be a lot of positive things that come from that. There's going to be a few negative things. Let's not kid ourselves. Some of these discussions are going to be very hard, and especially with the denomination discussions, and some things are going to be said that we're going to disagree with, and perhaps feelings are going to get hurt and things like that. But let's remember that we're family. And those things happen in families too, right? We all have disagreements, and we all don't always get along, and we're not always on the same page, but we're all still family, and we all love each other. We're not just a community of faith under Jesus Christ. We are a family here in Godfrey. So remember that as we go forward. You know, last night as we were visiting with her mom, we got a call from Brad, and our son Brad, he works with the women's soccer program at Mizzou, and there was a girl on the team that found out that her mom had passed away from COVID, and while she was home, her dad also passed away from COVID. So within a matter of just a couple days, she lost both her parents, and that really hit hard. And the coach told the players and the staff to call their parents, call your families, and tell them that you love them. So of course Brad called us. And you know, every time we talk to our kids, we tell them we love them. And every time I talk to my parents, I visit with my parents once a week, and I text with them constantly, and I call them on the phone, and I tell them I love them, remind them that I love them. Susan, I tell her all the time that I love her. I love you, Susan. But you know what? I don't tell my Godfrey First family often enough. I love you. You have been very special to us. Very supportive of me and the ministries that Susan and I have done with music and youth and whatever else. So I want to thank you for that. I love you. So Sorry that today's GaFUMCk is emotional. So sometimes you're going to be. But that's what I have today. Hug your kids. Call your parents. Tell everybody you love them. That's going to do it for me today. So from the Motel House, blessings, Godfrey first.